no man can bathe there. This is the tradition. So a specific isolated place only for women. So they bathe naked because between themselves this is tradition. They left their clothes on the shore. God, called Krishna, or one of the forms of God, or avatar, or whatever they want to call him, he comes along and he takes the clothes, he goes up to a tree with the clothes and he started watching and enjoying. Sooner or later, they've noticed someone's watching them and they then demanded, what are you doing here? It's not something that they gave permission to, consent to. Give our clothes back. He says, no. Come individually one by one. From the water, naked, then I'll give you clothes back. They're trying to give a lot of reasons in terms of how, these people who are worshipping him in the first place wanted to be the wife of this individual God, and that's why it's okay. But if you look at it, he is asking for this naked girl to come open because he wants to enjoy their beauty, their nakedness. And the poor girls, think about it, does not click to you that this is God Almighty, the one who's just, the one who's pure, the one who demands purity? To me, I'm sorry, I have to disagree with these Hindu traditions. However, you depict that this is actually like, some kind of symbolism. No.
So, I agree.
So that concept of God.
It's fair enough if you're like singling out certain ideas and certain arguments.
You're filtering them. You're filtering them
from a religion. So that I believe.
Because your heart and mind has been equipped with certain ways to filter, which is something not believable, to something which your heart and mind would be finely tuned with it, right?
I believe that is a good thing.
Good.
But
So
what I do think is that's what my point is. I think religions are very broad, and there's so many ideas and so many opinions.
But take it to the conclusion.
I will. There's so many ideas from the religious books that you can apply it to modern day life and stuff. But I think that's what my point was.
I'm talking about the concept
of religion
of God
as a whole, and the idea as a whole of the religion and the person's intent in following this religion is good. So I feel like I shouldn't tell someone to. So if you're both Muslims, I shouldn't tell you because I don't believe in. Because I don't follow a certain religion, I shouldn't tell you.
That is wrong. But that's the point we're discussing. At this point, we're not going to judge anything.
Because of little differing.
But do you follow one thing?
Ideas.
We are not judging any religion at all. What we're doing is we are trying to filter the true and the right and the correct concept by using your mind alone or using the revelation. So you've heard about the Christians talking about God, right? Let's briefly touch upon this concept. You have a God who has a son who comes down, who's supposed to be all knowledgeable, and he says, I don't know the hour. You will see this is one of the things that we ask our Christian friends most of the time. How do you explain this? How do you justify believing in it? If you are all knowledgeable, think about it. If you are all wise and all knowledgeable from eternity to eternity, meaning you know the past, the present and the future already. What's your name? Owen.
Yeah.
Now imagine I know Owen, this name, and I don't forget. I will always know this name, because I am all knowledgeable. Then I go to place over there and then I don't know your name anymore. Is that possible while I'm supposed to be all knowledgeable?
No.
Doesn't matter where I go. If I'm all knowledgeable all the time, I will always know your name. So what they're saying, God sent his son, who is also God. He came down on earth, took a human body. He doesn't know everything. I would say that doesn't make any sense. Because if you are all knowledgeable to begin with, you will always be all knowledgeable. You cannot be less than all knowledgeable. You cannot be. Because you know the future already. There's nothing more to know. You know it already. Then how can you not know it? Unless you forget. And that is an imperfection, a deficiency in a concept of God. God is a perfect being with his attributes. If he has knowledge, it's a perfect knowledge. So 100% all knowledge, not 5%. And 90% knowledge and 10% ignorance. It doesn't count. So just this one example will tell you there's something definitely wrong with this belief system. Somewhere something went wrong. That is why we say Christ, he came to tell people to worship God, his God. And of course he's not all knowledgeable because he's a creation of God. The creation of God, you, me and everything else, is not all knowledgeable. All wise, all knowledgeable attribute only belongs to the one absolute being, that is God. Okay? So when we filter, we can arrive at the correct conclusion. Okay? And if you look at the concept presented in the books, if it doesn't get in line with your heart and your mind, there's something wrong with it. Because God who created you knowing that what you are capable of accepting and capable of rejecting. He cannot force you to a book which says God is a half elephant and half man as a result of chopping the heads off the man's head, Ganesh, and then the only thing that's the story I have to tell you again very briefly. There was this God, he has a wife, goddess, and he has a son, right? He puts his son on the guard in front of the door, so no one goes inside, you know. So wife is there, right? Whatever reason, okay, let's say just okay, protect the family. For whatever reason, he didn't do that. He became angry. God, the husband God or the father God became angry. He chopped off the head of his son. And then he eventually realized, because what have I done? I've killed my own son, chopped my own son. So he looked around, saw an elephant, chopped off the head of the elephant, put the elephant's head on the half decapitated body, and now you have an elephant head and a human body. His name is Ganesh. If you ever go to East London or Wembley, Middlesex, and go to a jewellery shop, he's the god of economics. To the Hindus, they worship this Ganesh. You will see elephant with the trunk, but he's got a belly and a human body. But you will ask yourself, what kind of concept of God is that? It doesn't get tuned with your heart and your mind. So what we're saying is a concept of God which you and I are seeking to find the truth must make sense to you. Now let me give you an example. And you tell me honestly. This is from the Quran, right? A book that we believe in. So I'll show you from the English translation. It's only 4 lines. A small surah. A surah is like a chapter in the Quran. And the Quran is composed of 114 surahs as a whole book. And this chapter is called chapter of Ikhlas or purity. It presents to us the concept of God in a nutshell. And see if your heart and your mind is finally in tune with it, or your heart and your mind says averse to it. It's not for me. Yeah? Think about it, because the true concept of God from God through his revelation must make sense about him. Say he is Allah, the one. Allah, the eternal refuge, the one who is without father, mother, individual. Basically, he is absolute. What footnote is that? Here. He is absolute, perfect. That's what it means, the Arabic word. So, absolute, independent. He neither begets nor is born, meaning he's not someone who gives birth to or produces any other. Neither himself is a product of someone else, a parent or lineage. Nor is there to him any equivalent or likeness or comparison. So it's one and only, unique, absolute, independent, perfect. Everything relies on him, depends on him, he depends on no one. He is not born, doesn't produce offsprings or children, and there is nothing co-equal or like him in any way, shape or form. Consult your heart and your mind. Does this concept of God make sense to you? There is one absolute being. Has to be one. Has to be one.
Why do they say it's a him?
No, this is just in Arabic language. They have to use the language. This is how God described himself. You can use he, she. There is no it in Arabic language. So God tells us he's not a man or a woman. In fact, he created both. He is not a gender. This is just a language where the Arabs have used in customary to describe God to be someone who is free from any gender. So if God used she, you can, because there's only 2 gender pronouns rather in Arabic language. One can ask, is God a female? Same question can ask. So what are you going to use? There is no, either he or she, that's what you're going to use. So Arabs say the sun is one gender, moon is one gender in terms of how you say it.
Yeah, it's just
When you say, okay, right, I went to a ship and she was beautiful. A ship, using a feminine attribute. My country is England, she is beautiful. She's not feminine. You see, when we use pronouns, customary use is not because something is a male or a female.
Personified.
Yeah, it's not because something is a male or female. A ship is not a female, neither is a country. But we just give the pronouns because that's what we are. In English, you have another one called neuter gender, called it. In Arabic, no. So God chose the masculine gender, but he says clearly he's not a man or a woman. And I think he's the creator of all things.
Why did he choose the masculine gender?
You can ask the same question, why did he not choose the feminine? And he will say, why did he choose the feminine? So the Arabs...
Yeah, but is there an answer to my question?
Yeah, because in the understanding where feminine gender was considered to be someone who is very gentle, very kind and compassionate, someone like, receptive and so on. God is saying, no, he's the creator. He's the one who also punishes. He's merciful, but he also punishes. It is not within the, makeup of a woman to punish. To punish someone. So the Arab mind, this is my humble understanding, will be in conflict. God is like describing with a she, and he's saying he's going to destroy us. I mean, come on. He cannot be. God cannot punish if you describe him with a she attribute. So this is just a.
But that's how you see women.
No. I'm saying this is the understanding of our linguistic tradition at that time. But when God then tells you that he is not anything, there's nothing like unto him. There is nothing like unto him. He's not a man or a woman or of any kind. Anything that you can imagine is not God. So if he was one,
basically they're saying that he's not a man or a woman. He's not. But that's just. The way in which they work.
Because the other option is not using any pronouns at all, only using noun. But in language, if I keep using nouns without a pronoun, you will see how difficult it gets. That's the reason why we have pronouns. We say he, she, it, they, we, us, rather than just by names, individuals. We resort to now pronouns for a reason. So when the pronouns are used, it is not because he's a male gender. Quran absolutely says no. So God, now see how it feels if I use this, okay, for the clarity then. God is one and only, because God is one and only, God has to be absolute. If God is one and only and absolute, he cannot be born, because there will be someone else who is born from. Then he will be dependent on someone else. If he also gives birth or produces something, then there's something like God. So if God is one and only and absolute and independent, not born, doesn't give birth, can there be any likeness to God in any way, shape or form? There cannot be. So this concept of God, if you deeply reflect, your heart and your mind will say, yes, I can accept that. This is how, if I were to believe in God, that's what God should be. That's how God should be like.
Why? As I said, no one really knows for a fact what is who,
let's address that point.
God is and how
what makes you believe in the Quran.
Okay, so let's address this point.
Why can't I believe that this idea of God is not right, and why can't I believe? Because
you have to give your reasons.
I feel like you're not. No, because I feel like you're sometimes you're discounting the impact of the world and all the things that happen in the world on people's opinions. And
Give
Owen,
put an alternative concept of God, and let's discuss this too in comparison to this.
You said it to me. You said God is energy. Do you remember when we spoke? You said I believe God is just an energy around us, and we're just atoms within it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I kind of have. I don't. That's the thing. I don't have a specific and what's the word? Haven't decided on a complete
Just the
idea
intuition
of what
is a feeling, and you can't describe it. You don't have that.
But if you were to take
you
it,
were talking before, like you said, if you believe in God, you just feel that that's right. Like this is the right way. You just feel it's in your heart. You don't really have a reason for it, and that's the same.
you realise you're not far off the Muslim narrative by saying energy. You're not that far off.
Yeah, no.
Let's talk about this energy. This energy, we say God possesses energy, and you say God is energy. The difference at the moment. This energy has to be either conscious, self-aware, or not conscious and not self-aware. That's the two options. If you say this energy is not conscious, not self-aware, then this energy cannot bring about anything, cannot do anything.
But I don't think it has. I think like the energy is everything.
Yeah.
Like it's infinity. It's us. It's not conscious. It is conscious. It's like it's everything, and it can't really be described.
In our world, changes happen constantly. Transformation from one form to the other. Matter, energy into conversion. One form to the other. How things like how human beings start from a baby and grow older and older and older, and eventually we die, and that's it. There's a process of change and transformation. This process is either directed, willed, or it just happens by itself through this energy. Either the energy is directing it to happen because it's self-aware, it has a goal or direction or a plan, or it just happens without it knowing or interfering, it just happens. Now, which one makes more sense is the question. Let me give you an example to illustrate my point further. Imagine there is a kitchen where you cook. Do you cook?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Now, so he finds your kitchen, he comes to the kitchen, and he sees everything's there. There is a cooker, there is a lighter to light the cooker, the gas cooker. There's a fridge, he opens it, there's milk, there's a cupboard on the shelf, and there's tea in tea bags, and there are cups and plates, and there's water in the sink. And he says, okay, I want a cup of tea with, how many sugars do you like?
2 sugars.
2 sugars. And he waits there. He waits and he waits. You, the willing agent, the one who transforms, the one who directs, the one who changes, the one who brings about, you're not there. Okay? You're just watching. He waits and waits and waits. Days goes by, months goes by, years goes by, eons goes by, eons. His tea doesn't get produced. Why so? Because there is no willing agent to will to bring all of this together to make tea. Because a conscious agent needs to will this to happen. He's intending it, he wants it. But there's no one else doing it for you. Because you are the chef, for example, you're the cook, you're not bringing them together, you haven't willed it. This tea will never happen. Doesn't matter, you sit there for infinity. You need a conscious, willing agent to bring all this element. Open the fridge door, bring the milk out, untap, sink, the water in the kettle, put it in the cooker, light the cooker, the gas flames, boils, bring the tea bags. All of these requires conscious processes by a will. If you believe in an energy, which is in control of this universe or not in control of the universe, then without consciousness and will, nothing will happen. It will be like just energy, but no transformation. The fact that we have transformation happening and changes happening tells us that there is a controller, a mover, a director, an organizer. And that's where we say this organizer is what we say God, who possesses, the creator who possesses this energy. Yes, the creator is not without energy. He possesses the energy. He creates. Yeah. So the difference is subtle, but it's quite important. The energy and the creator, the difference being someone or something that is self-aware, conscious, and has a will. So we say the creator created us with a will for a reason. Our fingerprints testify that we are created for a reason, because it's all unique. If it was just by pure chance and coincidence, 2 fingerprints should be the same by coincidence. We have established forensic science, where we use this as evidence. If the fingerprints match, it doesn't match with someone else's, because our fingerprints are unique. And God actually refers to this, people who reflect and think, do you really think that when you are dead, and you're rotten. Some people say, when you die, when you're dead, that's it. He will not bring you back. He's not going to gather you back together. Just no. Certainly He will. Certainly He will. Even to the very tips of your fingers. Maybe nothing special about it. Maybe there is something special about the tips of your fingers. Okay? God alludes to this point, and we know why, because it's very unique. He will bring you back again to the second life. Yeah, again. As unique as you were, He can bring you back again. No problem. Because God says, He created you first time, He will create you again. Is it difficult? If He creates you first time, He has all this blueprint. If you make something first time, is it difficult or easier to make something like it again? Easier. That's what God tells us to think. If you're created again, why do you then say that there is no afterlife? When you die and that's it? No. There will be justice. There will be a day of judgment where the bad and the wicked don't get away. They will be accountable for what they have done. And the good people, like yourself, the good people will be rewarded for their good.